Hello, welcome to another episode of Ballplayers in the Bulge. I'm Jay Average Vintage Collector, and in this series, I spotlight a Major League Baseball player that was a veteran of World War II, but specifically fought in the Battle of the Bulge, which was World War II's longest and deadliest battle. Today's spotlight will be on Corporal Ernie White, a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. Ernie White was born in Pacolet Mills, South Carolina. He pitched for a textile mill team in Pacolet. Discovered in 1937 by Frank Rickey, Branch Rickey's younger brother, who was a scout for the Cardinals, he was signed as a 20-year-old. After signing, he was sent to Martinsville, Class D in the Bi-State League, and then moved up to Asheville in the Class B Piedmont League. Asheville played at McCormick Field, which was the much later location for a scene in the movie Bull Durham. In 1938, he moved to Portsmouth Redbirds of Class C Middle Atlantic League, a team owned by the Cardinals. His first big splash with Portsmouth came on June 3rd, 1938 versus the Johnstown Johnnies. In that game, White struck out 15 batters in 5 innings. He finished that season 15-6 and was an all-star. In 1939, now with the Houston Buffaloes of the Class A1 Texas League, under manager Eddie Dyer, a former St. Louis pitcher and manager, the Buffaloes captured the Texas League Championship, but they lost in the first round of the playoffs. The pitching on that team was loaded. It included Harry Brichin, Murray Dixon, Howie Christ, Ted Wilkes, and an aging Dizzy Dean, along with White. During the season, White pitched the first no-hitter for Houston since 1920. He finished the season 15-6 and second in the league in strikeouts. From there, he did a stint with AA Columbus Redbirds of the American Association. This was the top St. Louis farm club. He impressed very early with a 13-4 record and a 2.25 ERA. 5 of his victories were 3-hitters. He was called up to the Cardinals late in the season and made his debut on May 9th, 1940. He actually came in relief of Murray Dixon, who had been shelled early in the game. White went on to pitch 7 1/3 innings, and the Cardinals won. He also went 3 for 3 at the plate that day. Not a bad first game. He spent 8 games with the Cardinals and finished with a 1-1 record. Following season, 1941, it was his first full season with the Cardinals. He had 32 appearances, in which he started 25. He finished the season 17-7 with a 2.40 ERA and came in 6th place in MVP voting. He had a hot streak in June of that year where he pitched back-to-back shutouts against Brooklyn and the New York Yankees. In between starts, he came in relief. In July, he won 4 games in 5 days, which was a 20th century major league record. I'm unsure if that still stands today. He also threw 12 complete games and had 3 shutouts. He pitched 210 innings that season, giving up only 72 runs, only 56 of which were earned. In 1942, he tried to develop a curveball during spring training, but this led to a very sore arm, and his production went way down. He only won 7 games that year and had difficulties with his arm all year. Once during that season, with the problems with his arm, he was hit by a line drive in one of the games. Again, adding more injury, he missed several weeks of baseball. Despite the setback, the Cardinals did win the pennant that year, their first since 1934. White had 26 appearances, 19 games started, and a 7-5 record with 7 complete games and a 2.52 ERA. He was called upon to start Game 3 of the 1942 World Series against New York at Yankee Stadium. He pitched a complete game and had 6 strikeouts. He was the first player since Jesse Haynes in 1926 to blank the Yankees in a World Series. St. Louis did go on to win the World Series. In 1943, there were very high hopes for Ernie White. However, he bumped into the dugout at Ebbets Field backing up a play, and he sustained a shoulder injury, which ailed him the entire rest of the year. He only had 14 appearances, 10 games started, a 5-5 record with 5 complete games. He did appear in the 1943 World Series, but it was only as a pinch runner. At the end of the season, it was revealed that that shoulder injury had been a break, and he had been playing with a broken shoulder the entire year. In 1944, Ernie White was drafted into the Army. He served with the 78th Infantry Division. When asked about his training, he stated, quote, "It's a lot tougher than baseball training. You do things you'd never dream of doing in baseball camp or in the nicest nightmare you ever dreamed. But it's taking a lot of surplus off the nation's waistline, and it's making fighting men out of fellows who never thought they'd carry a rifle or throw a grenade." End quote. Ernie White fought in the Battle of the Bulge, and at one point, he was pinned down in icy water for nearly a day from German fire. In March 1945, White was one of 2 American soldiers who presented arms and fired a volley over the grave of a Russian slave laborer in Germany. I did try to find more about that story, but was unable to. He returned to the United States at the end of 1945 and joined the Cardinals for spring training. His dead arm was worse than before he left for the war, and the Cardinals released him. He was signed within just a few hours of his release by the Braves, who thought that there was still some potential there. His arm was problematic, and he only ended up appearing in 12 games that year. During the next 2 years, White showed occasional improvement, but it never lasted. In his final season with the Braves, he appeared in 15 games, had a 1.96 ERA, and had 2 saves for the National League pennant winners. His last appearance was as a pinch runner in the final game of the season. The Braves went on to the World Series, but White did not play, and he was released soon after. White's 7-year playing career resulted in a 30-21 record in 108 games, with 6 saves and 5 strikeouts, 24 complete games, and a 2.78 ERA. Truly a what-if scenario. What if his arm had not died? What if he had not gone to the war? White moved on to managing several teams in the minor leagues and had great success. In 1963, he became the second pitching coach in the Mets' history. Coming off of their maiden season where they went 40-120, the Mets moved up to 51 wins that season and had a vastly improved team ERA. Unfortunately, White was moved to a minor league team the next season, which would be his final spot. On May 22nd, 1974, White went in for a minor surgery to remove bone fragments from his knee. He died during the surgery at age 57. Thank you for your service, Corporal Ernie White.